Patnubay ng mga magulang ang kailangan sa programang ito ngayong hapon.
We are here, we're talking about love. Ngayon pag-usapan natin, how can we, as Filipino Americans and the younger generation, teach our older titas, titos, lolos, and lolas how to communicate love, how we are going to be able to bridge the gap so generations can understand each other more, to lead into a more healthy, loving relationship. Tanet, paano? How can we help them?
You know, I've seen good examples of this because I've seen like the Filipino from the Philippine side, and I've seen the Filipino American side of things.
Very different.
Very different. Growing up, you know, here you're allowed to kind of reason, right, when you're talking to your parents, and whereas in the Philippines, maybe they consider that talking back, right? So I guess, I mean, it depends on your tone when you do it.
Yes.
Right? So at the same time, so if they, you know, thought something different about your lifestyle or your loved ones or who you're dating, maybe, you know, just talk to them about it. And in your example of the saying, I love you, maybe be the first person to say, I love you, Mom, I love you, Dad, even if it's like, where did that come from? And then it'll just become a habit, you know? I think that's where you start. You become that person that you want them to be as well.
Right. Okay. Irene?
I think by example, definitely. You know, everybody has nieces and nephews, so, you know, showering them with the love so that the older generation see what that looks like. Because you had mentioned earlier that, you know, sometimes, or for many of them, they didn't have any templates. So they also need to see it. So now it's up to them if they're gonna incorporate it in their lives. But I mean, I think it's good for them to see it. So, and also for me, I think you just have to do it to them too, you know?
Yeah.
And then if they're uncomfortable, then they're uncomfortable. But I think they have to also be on the receiving end, so they know that if they choose to take it on, that they know how to give it also.
Yes, yes. Okay. That's a challenge. That's a
Very
challenge.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Allison?
I think I'm going to go a different way. And I've been thinking a lot about how the most surprising moments I've learned from elders is when I have been quiet and suddenly they find a space to be able to articulate something that they see reflected in who I am and how I move through the world. And there's a gift around, like, I remember complaining once, like, oh, there's no stories about, you know, queer Filipina loving each other in the Philippines, or like we only have the word tomboy, or we have this. And this one, I met this elder and she listened to me and then she stopped. She said, well, you know, in the province where I'm from, my school teacher, she had a darling. And we all knew that that's who she loved. That was her darling. And we would always say, there goes the teacher's darling. And so she just created this moment where I was like, as much as I think I know about what elders know about love, what surprises me and what's hopeful about it is, but you never know. Like when I came out to my father, he's like, well, I had a gay friend when I was younger. And I was like, what? So it just, I feel like for me, around the idea of love, around who we can love and how we can love, I feel like there's always that open moment of like, you never know what the gift is gonna be, either that you give someone else so that they can connect to a part of their life that no one ever gave them the space to, or that you can be open to hear from them a gift that you need in that moment that I never would have thought sitting down with these, you know, with all these titas in Ann Arbor, Michigan, we're gonna have lunch, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell you stuff, I'm from LA. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there and the whole lunch I'm just like, I'm not saying anything.
Right.
I'm receiving, I'm listening.
Yes. So to the younger generation, sometimes it's okay to just shut your mouth and listen, right? Okay, it's been a great panel. Thank you so much. We'll be back, actually. We're going to be talking about self-love, self-care, how we can do that and what that means to the Filipino American culture. Maraming salamat for joining us. Ako po si G. Tanji.